Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. You have found the Gamer Social Club podcast. I am your host, Nathan Lockhart, and aka One Hot Dragon, and I am joined by the Whore for Horror, best F-bomb dropping guy I know, Fraser. How you doing, buddy?
Nathan, I'm doing bloody well, thanks, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm just phenomenal, and I
Ah,
am
fantastic.
also joined by Russell, the emulating.
I thought that was going to be it.
Damn it. Okay, hold on. I got this. All right, all right, all right. Listen, I've been thinking really hard about this. All right,
Oh, this is dangerous, man. I don't know if we should be going.
really hard. And now that I'm here to say it, I can't find the words. So it's something about emulation king, or PC guru. It's Russell. You all know him.
I,
You all love him. He's here with us today. How are you?
I'm not too bad.
it,
I like
I'm
it.
just glad the week's over. I've got a few days off now. I don't go back to work till Wednesday, so
hell
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
How
Yep.
was your guys's, well, actually, here, let me run this through first before I ask that. Today we are going to talk about the Black Ops 6 review, Dragon Age Veilguard Impressions, and the Concord Studio Shuts Down. But the Gamer Social Club is a place where gamers from all around the world come together and share their love for video games together in a positive environment. Our goal is to give gamers a platform to share their experiences, to add to the conversation in the games industry, to give more gamers a sense of community, and bring a little more happiness into your life. Tell me, this is November 1st. Yesterday
Yeah.
was the best holiday of the year, Halloween. How was your guys' Halloween?
Russell, do you want to go, mate?
I mean it's gonna be short. I went to work, I came home, and then I played Zelda 2 on the stream this week. So
Not even a horror game?
I
That's pretty
mean
scary, man.
it's incredibly difficult. So I mean, depending on how you look at it, I'm playing it with mods. Oh, the horror!
You get scared. You get scared. Or you become scary when you get mad.
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully Fraser's got something better than that.
I actually don't.
Oh, really?
No. So what? Yeah. Well, yesterday, what did I do yesterday? I watched a few episodes of Lost. I played some zombies with my wife.
Oh,
And
hey, that's
that
cool.
was and that was it. Like that was literally my day. So Halloween, that's a win. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a brilliant day. But no, it's
That is a
not.
brilliant day.
Halloween's not as big a thing in Australia as it is for you guys.
Oh, really?
You no, like the um the suburbs don't shut down with kids walking on the streets all dressed up. You might see a child or two. Some people might do up their house like a little bit, but it's not really a thing here.
Wow. Okay.
No.
That's a
We
bummer.
didn't I mean, yeah, I live in an apartment, so usually we don't get people coming to the door, but when I
Okay.
when I have lived in houses, you might get one or maybe two, but it's
Okay.
not a thing.
Huh. Yeah, I
No.
am a huge fan of Halloween. I love Halloween.
Mm.
We made it a whole thing. We went to a town nearby and took the kids trick or treating. And there's like a pizza
Oh,
shop that was
so
handing
much
out
fun.
slices of pizza, and there was like donuts being handed out, popcorn. It was like crazy the amount of different stuff being handed out, and there was like, I'd say we hit like 3 houses giving out full size candy bars. So we really hit the jackpot, us and the kids, and we ended the night by like grabbing pizza on the way home. Got home, watched the Corpse Bride. It was funny because I haven't watched it since I was younger, and I was like, "Oh, I bet you the
Mm.
kids will love this." And we watched it. I'm like, in hindsight, probably should have waited until they're a little bit older.
Yeah, I don't remember Corpse Bride either, but I remember it's such a like
It's
Tim Burton, man. What
oh
a
man,
genius.
he is. He is. I love it.
Yeah.
And then so we watched that together. Then afterwards, me and Megan watched Abigail, the horror movie. And that was
Is that the
really
one
really
about
good.
the doll?
No,
Not the
that
doll, but the. Oh, sorry.
it's about a ballerina.
Right. No, I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's like this
Actually,
13-year-old. They're like a group of kidnappers that go to kidnap this 13-year-old ballerina, and then it ends up being like they're stuck in the house with her. Uh,
oh, fun. I like those
and
ones.
I was very surprised because like when they're in it, like they're stuck in this mansion. And there was just so many different points where I'm like, man, this kind of feels Resident Evil-y a little bit.
Oh, cool.
I really liked
Yeah.
it. I definitely
Yeah.
recommend it. But yeah, so
I
we
tell you
watched
what,
that, and I made the kids. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I was thinking of Megan. That was the movie that I was thinking of. You know,
Oh,
with the doll and the AI doll thing,
that was also
and
really good.
she goes on the murderous rampage.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking of.
that's a
But
good
carry
movie.
on.
That is a good movie too. They no, I was just gonna say we rounded up our Halloween weekend by this morning. I made the kids like food dyed pancakes. Like I
Oh,
did like
yep.
pumpkins. I dyed one orange and like drew pumpkin faces on them, and then did that with like some green ones. Made like zombie faces on green pancakes. So yeah, we
Oh,
had some fun
so
with
cool.
it.
That is so cool.
Russell, what have you been playing lately?
You mean besides Zelda 2?
That's been it. That
See,
was
I
just
just thought that's what you did yesterday. Is that what you've been doing all week?
No, I guess I can talk emulation a little bit. At this point, my YouTube channel is basically that and mods. So I found a mod. I don't know if either one of you have played Zelda 2 or not before.
no.
It's frustratingly difficult. I found a couple mods to make it hopefully beatable. They're not called temples in this, they're called palaces. Oops, I turned it on. I believe I'm about to enter the 6th palace, and there's 7, so hopefully
Oh
it
wow.
won't.
Yeah.
There's an old saying with the NES, the whole like tough but fair thing. Not tough but fair, not at all. So I just ran across a mod to make it a little bit easier. It used to be you get 3 lives at the beginning of it, and then if you lose your 3 lives, you go back to the beginning of the game with everything
Oh,
you have.
that's
So
brutal.
you still get like all of your abilities and stuff. It does reset your experience points, so that sucks. But at least with this mod, so now if I'm in one of the palaces and I die, I just go back to the beginning of the palace and not to the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Which is something they did for the last palace, but not the rest of them. Also, there's some, not bosses, but like more main bad guys, like the Iron Knuckle and such, that like respawn as soon as you leave part of the screen. They don't do that in this mod now. So, it's still tough as balls. I'm still dying all of the time. It's still unfair. If you accidentally skip a town for some reason, you can be completely lost. So don't do that. But yeah, mostly that. And then earlier in the week, I was playing a lot of Resident Evil 7 because Halloween. I still want to finish that at some point this week. And then I got a game I got to start this weekend for review. I'm trying to chug through TMNT bit by bit. The more I get further into it, the less entertained I am.
Oh, that's a
Oh
shame.
man,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hate that for you.
it's just getting more repetitive and more repetitive. If we're being honest, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish it. To be perfectly,
Oh,
I mean,
brutal. Yeah.
not in a time frame where like it's worth putting the review up.
Yeah.
If I were gonna give it a score now, I'd probably give it a solid like 5.5.
Okay.
It's not even on Switch. The loading screens are fucking abysmal. but it's not like broken. There's not a lot of frame dips. It's just boring, which is almost worse in a way.
Ugh.
It's one of those situations where like I've been so bored and skipping through the cutscenes, like I couldn't even really tell you what's going on, and I don't care.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
That's a shame, dude.
You've checked out of a game whenever you're checked out of the cutscenes. You're just like, I really don't care. If I missed it, it's not going to change my experience.
well, and the funny thing is, so like a while ago, so a couple of years ago when I got my Steam Deck, I bought so I got the laptop we're doing this on, and I had already had my Steam Deck pre-ordered. So I was kind of curious about the power of the laptop. I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy God of War 2018 and I'm going to buy Horizon Zero Dawn. And I wanted to see if they'd run on this laptop. And then I was like, well, if they don't, I've already read that they run fine on the Steam Deck, so I'll get that in a few months or whatever. It took a while. For anyone listening to this who has a Steam Deck, who dealt with the pre-order process in that first year, you understand what I'm saying. You pre-ordered them, and then essentially there was like waves and stuff. And in order to get into the first wave, you had to pre-order like, I think it was like a year before release or something. But I was in wave like 3 or 4, whatever year it came out. I think I got mine in like August-ish. But anyway, so I already knew that was on the way. This was like late spring when we got the laptop. And so I was just kind of curious. Anyway, I say all that to say I've played Horizon Zero Dawn. The story is boring as hell, but I beat the game because the combat was fun. So I have played games where, you know, that's I can get through that with combat. The problem is with TMNT, the story is boring. The enemy variety is like god awful. And the combat's just not interesting at all.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
That's a recipe for disaster there. There's not even one redeemable thing about that.
Yeah.
I like the turtles.
Yeah, is at least the art style good?
It's so the newer movie that came out. Oh, was that earlier this year or last year?
I think it was last year, wasn't it?
Last year. I went to the theater. I know it's made for like kids and like this generation. I liked the movie fine. But this is basically kind of like a continuation of that. I was for the first hour or so, I was actually paying attention to the story. But so I have like some idea as to what's going on. But then it just kind of like after about an hour or so, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But right now, from what I understand, the main story can be beaten about 12 hours. I think I'm like 5 or 6 hours in, so it'd almost be a waste to not beat it at this point. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I hate that you didn't like the Horizon Zero Dawn story. Like most people talk to or hear from, don't like.
There was a couple. So there was a couple. Do we want to spoil this game or not? The remaster did just come out, so maybe I should refrain from saying too much.
Yeah. There's
a big reveal in the game that I saw coming from a mile away, in terms of we'll say her finding her mother and finding out who she actually is.
See, I guess I'm just dumb because I saw that coming.
Yeah, I saw that coming from a mile away. The reveal of that was kind of cool. And then towards the end of the game, she gives like this rah war speech, and I thought that was really cool. Those were the only 2 cutscenes I gave a shit about.
That rah war speech reminded me of the rah war speech that Keira Knightley gives on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
And I just thought, why would anyone follow you? Like, yeah, it just, yeah.
Listen,
like, see the rah speech, like in the moment, I was kind of touched by it, but then after the fact, I kind of had the same thought.
Like,
but again, I didn't really like. I don't know, and that's the thing about I have heard from people that are really into the Horizon series that the second game, the story is somehow worse. Like they didn't shit on it, but they were like if you don't like the the story in the first game, you're gonna like the second one even less. I don't really know what that means, but the combat is supposed to be more fun and like more fluid. So like I've been thinking about buying it, but I think I paid like $20 for the first game, $25
Yeah.
when it was on Steam. Was in the middle of one of their summer sales when I bought that in God of War a couple years ago, so I couldn't tell you what I paid for them.
Yeah, I picked it up secondhand too.
Yeah. What was I was gonna ask, have you either of you guys watched Attack on Titan?
No.
Maybe?
Yeah, I'm aware of it. But
Okay.
There's like big skinless guys fighting.
Yeah. So I don't watch anime, but that is legit my favorite show of all time. Like,
oh wow, okay.
It was really good because my friends were just like, "Hey, if you don't like this, then you will never like anime. There's nothing." They're like, "We'll never bug you again if you hate Attack on Titan. Like, we'll never bug you again about watching anime if you watched it and don't like it."
Yeah.
So I watched it, and it is legit my favorite show of all time. It is so freaking good. And there's this war speech that he gives. So it's like once you've heard that speech, it happens in season 3. There's a speech that happens, and oh my gosh, like I was ready to throw myself out onto the battlefield and die for glory. I was ready. I was ready. And then Fraser, I was going to ask what you're up to, but I already know what you're up to, so we'll get into that into the news segments here. So, but it's also the most useless news segment, actually. But what do you know why that is?
Well, Nathan, let me tell you. If you were following the Gamer Social Club on any of the many social media outlets that we are on, you would know what these would be. So what is that? gamersocialclub.ca. Twitter is gamer_s_c. We are also on Blue Sky now, which again is gamer_s_c. And that's really it.
Hell yeah. All right, let's dive right into it. So Fraser has been playing Black Ops 6. Well, I've been playing it a good bit too. We've all been working on trying to churn out some Black Ops 6 content. Trying our best anyways, that's for sure. But the Black Ops 6 review, Fraser was the lead reviewer. So why don't you go ahead and hop right into that. Tell us all about your review. And I will, of course, put a link below in the description for his written review.
Yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Black Ops 6. I thought it was it's actually the most fun I've had with Black Ops or with Call of Duty in quite a long time. I will say I have not played much of the multiplayer yet because I did both betas and I got to the max rank in both betas. So I'm assuming that not much has changed, but it might have. There might just be some minuscule changes that they've made. But I've always, we'll start with zombies. I've always been a zombies fan in Call of Duty, no matter what. I'll buy the game, I'll play zombies first, and then I'll play the campaign, and then I might jump into multiplayer. Maybe. There's quite a few of them I never even touched the multiplayer, like Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare, and most of those earlier Call of Duties, I didn't do any multiplayer whatsoever. So the zombies in this, I've gone back to round-based zombies, which a lot of fans wanted. I think it's cool, but I also really enjoyed the direction that they were going with the open world zombies. Did either of you play Modern Warfare 3 Zombies?
Yes. I liked it a lot, but I only got like 2 or 3 missions in before my attention was taken away, and I only had the one friend playing it with me, so I really want to go back. It's something that I was wanting to talk to you about because I don't have any of the achievements for it. So I actually really like to go back to it and get the achievements for it.
Well, I'm very close to getting the final achievement, which is I think it's kill 50,000 zombies.
Oh my
so
gosh, that's intense.
I'm very I'm very close to getting that. I have finished the zombie storylines for Modern Warfare 3, but I would love to go jump back in with you. I one of my favorite things for Call of Duty in ages was actually the DMZ. I don't know if you ever played that. It was
Yeah, just a tiny bit,
yeah,
just enough to do the
yeah,
Diablo event that they did, where you like had to kill the
yeah.
butcher and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the DMZ was like a PvE VP extraction mode set on the Warzone map. It was the most fun I have had in Call of Duty in forever. It was the most amazing mode. You jump in with friends, you had objectives that you had to do. There were enemy teams on the map as well that you may or may not run into. And I just thought that this was the coolest thing they had ever done. And then when Modern Warfare 3 Zombies came out, same map, same everything, I was like, oh my god, is this going to be a PvE VP Zombies experience? Like, what? But it wasn't, unfortunately. It was just PvE, which was kind of dumb. They definitely missed out on something there. But where I was going with that was they've gone back to round-based zombies, and I think it's a lot more beginner user friendly. I have been seeing that like this is the first Call of Duty that a lot of people are playing. Like there's, it's been a huge uptake in Call of Duty. People that haven't played a Call of Duty for years are coming back to it. And yeah, so this round-based zombies is a lot of fun. They've taken things that were good from the open world zombies, like being able to bring in your own loadout. I think is a lot of fun. I love the progression. So your progression is tied to your multiplayer progression. So you don't lose out by playing zombies and not playing multiplayer. The
So like
brought back
you
Gobblegum.
advance the battle pass, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
actually, the battle pass isn't. It's not active yet.
Okay. That's
So
right. That's right.
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
But I would be shocked if it didn't,
Okay.
because the main progression between when you're leveling up and you're prestiging and unlocking the weapons and score streaks and stuff, like, so that's all combined, which I love. They've brought back Gobblegum from I think that was Black Ops 3, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 3.
Okay.
So there's like bubblegum machines around the map,
Yeah.
and you get your gobblegum out, and it just gives you like a random thing. I'm not sure how I feel about this, because they are a one-use item, and you get them by playing zombies. Essentially, you play zombies, and you unlock these gobblegums, which you can then use. So I don't know if I have run out of gobblegums, and now I only have 1 or 2. So it's kind of this thing of like, do I use them, or are they just gonna sit there? I don't really know. But yeah, having loads of fun with that. But the one thing that I've taken away from the zombies is my wife does not play video games. She she'll play the odd one every now and again. She's got her little phone games that she loves, but she won't get stuck into the kind of gaming that I do. She will play zombies with me though, which it's been such an amazing thing. So every time a new Call of Duty comes out, Mon gets excited, and we get excited together about it, for talking about the new zombies. I'm definitely the one that drives it. I'm turning on the power. I'm doing all the things, and
Yep.
she's just killing stuff, and it's hilarious for a cooperative game. She gets very, very competitive, and is always pulling up the score. Like, oh, you've killed more than me. Let me kill some. I need to get some more points.
Oh my gosh.
So, but Cold War had it. Then when Vanguard came out, no split screen zombies.
Oh,
They'd just taken it away, and I was devastated because that was our thing that we used to do. We would spend hours on it, playing it together. And so that came out. Then Modern Warfare 2 came out, no split screen. Modern Warfare 3 came out, open world zombies. I was like, oh great, this is going to be amazing. No split screen. So when this came out, I just assumed there was no split screen, but there bloody well is, mate.
yeah.
There is split screen zombies is back.
It's amazing.
It's weirdly difficult to get working. I don't know if it's because it's new and they're like working out some bugs or something,
Yeah.
but I actually had to look up a video of how to do it, and
Yeah.
it turns out I was doing it right. It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I've spent Monique and I spent yesterday pretty much just cuddled up on the couch, just playing zombies,
I
and
love
it was
that so much.
it was fucking amazing. So yeah, she popped her head in before because I have an Xbox One in the lounge. My old Xbox is just in the lounge, and it's just got some weird stuff on it that I might play every now and again. But the Xbox One version doesn't have couch co-op.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's because it's such an old system and it just can't handle it. So I had to unplug the Series X from in here and put it in the lounge. And just before I started, she popped her head in. She's like, "Oh, I see you've taken the Xbox back." So I think she was wanting to play some while I was doing this. But
Yeah.
my setup's all fucking stupid. These headphones, I can have them connected to my Xbox and my PC at the same time.
Oh, hey, that's cool.
But if they're not plugged in, they don't work at all.
Oh.
So I had to plug everything back in.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
that's all right. Once we're done, I'll unplug it again and I'll throw it back in the lounge. And that's us today. We're going to be playing a lot more zombies.
See,
yeah.
our wives would get along so well together.
Yeah.
Like that's the
I
way
reckon
Megan
they
is
would.
too. Like it's like we're on the same team. Like it's not a competition. Just chill.
Yeah. Those first couple of rounds, she's like watching the scoreboard.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, you've got three more kills than me. Like, stop. let me get them.
That's amazing.
It's so good.
She loves
So
telling
yeah,
people the story
Sorry?
about how she punched me in Mario Kart because she gets so competitive. She was like, she just like straight up like whopped me in the arm. She's like, stop! I was like, geez, I'm sorry.
Oh, I love it. So yeah, so that's I'm so like I'm back on board with Call of Duty. Like it is, like I said, it's the most fun I've had in fucking ages.
Yeah.
Have you played zombies at all yet?
No, I have not touched zombies. I literally only played 2 matches of multiplayer so far. I was very focused on the campaign, which is what I was about ready to talk to you about.
Yep.
Let's see. So the campaign review is what I want to dig into because, again, I haven't played the zombies, but the campaign, I am right there with you. Like, I am so back into Call of Duty.
Yes.
If you would have asked me a month ago if I would have thought I was going to be this into Call of Duty again, I would have been like, oh no, it's going to take a lot.
No.
But my gosh, they found so many ways. That campaign was so great. And they've done enough to change the formula of gameplay that I do want to keep coming back for more. It feels fresh, like Call of Duty feels new again. I feel like we're back in a golden era. Like it reminds me of playing Call of Duty back when Modern Warfare 2 was out, when Black Ops 1 was out.
Even Black Ops.
Yes. And when those games were out, when Nuketown, which Black Ops had that first? Was it 2? Black Ops 2? Like
No, I think Nuketown was in Black Ops 1.
Black Ops 1, okay.
But Nuketown was a zombies map on Black Ops
Okay.
2.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it reminds me of that era of like this is what everybody's doing, we're all getting off of school, coming home and playing Black Ops, and like
Yep.
it feels so back and it feels good. The thing that I have to say about the review before I toss it back over to you to talk about it, but like I hopped into the chat and I was like, guys, this is gonna sound over dramatic, but this campaign's a 9 out of 10 for me. And after seeing some of the other people's reviews, I'm like, okay, I'm not that far off base, because every mission feels like its own indie game almost.
Yep.
And it feels unique. It almost doesn't feel like Call of Duty. There's a mission where I feel like I'm James Bond. There's another mission where I feel like I'm playing a Hitman game. There's another mission where I feel like I'm playing an indie horror game from Steam that's like top quality. It just like every time I entered a new mission, I thought to myself for a totally different reason, oh wow, this is why Call of Duty is like top tier. This is why Call of Duty is top dog. And I just kept thinking to myself every time I went to the next mission. There's a mission where it's kind of like open world. It's just the one mission. It's not like every mission tries to do that like Modern Warfare 3 did. But there was one mission where it's just like it's Afghanistan you're in, right? Is that the
Operation Desert Storm?
Yeah. So it's just an open battlefield, and you've got all these different objectives to do, and that's just one mission. Then there's plenty of boss fights throughout the game, which is, oh my god,
so weird, weird. Like Call of Duty with boss fights.
I know. Yeah. But here's the biggest thing. And now, did you play it on Veteran?
I started on Veteran, but I was finding it quite difficult, so
Really?
I dropped it down because I needed to get the review done. And also I'm someone who likes to feel fucking powerful in these sort of games.
Yeah.
I don't like I want to walk into a room and just murder everyone.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk in the room and have a possibility of me dying.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah. See, I'm the other way around. Like, I want the struggle.
Right.
I want to feel like, whoo,
Yep.
I made it out of that one. And I played every Call of Duty on Veteran. If you don't believe me, go check my achievements. I have played all the Call of Duties on Veteran. I mean, I still got to finish Modern Warfare 3, so I guess, that you caught me. I'm a liar. But like, here's the thing. When you play the game on Veteran, it's very, you get shot, you're dead. Period. Like, you need to you need to slowly maneuver your corners. One guy by one guy by one guy, like, take them out. And be very, very careful. With this game, it is the first time ever that I've played a Call of Duty where I went into it and I felt like I was challenged in a totally different way. I felt like I was challenged by how quickly can I take them out? Am I focusing on the right guys? They have elite enemies now, which is one of the coolest things that they could have added. It's almost like that thing of like you're playing it and you're just like, why haven't they done this sooner? I mean, come on, elite enemies, that just seems like a basic thing you would have thought to add a long time ago. But it's brilliant for this game, especially on Veteran. But you go into... Yeah, you could start it. I like turn around and Megan's just like standing there. She's trying to figure out if she can
been
run the
watching
coffee
too many horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like I was watching the movie Smile. I looked over at her and she's just like, okay. But anyways, crap, you threw me off. Shoot, what was I saying?
Elite enemies.
Elite
and
enemies.
How they bring
Yes, thank you. So the elite enemies, you got to really focus on, like, there's this RC car. I've got a clip that I'm going to share with y'all on our YouTube channel here fairly soon. But there's this moment where I completely run out of ammo. And this dude just keeps throwing out RCXDs at me. He won't stop.
Yep.
And I'm running
So
for
how,
my
how
life.
does he have so many in his backpack?
Oh my gosh, I'm
Where are you
running
getting
for my life
from?
all around. And then like finally like I'm able to like jump from thing to thing, lose the RCXDs, jump down and tackle them. It was awesome. I was like, I'm so glad I got that recorded. So that's gonna eventually be uploaded to our shorts. But you know, it's that thing of whenever I'm in a giant group of enemies, if I was playing, say, even Modern Warfare 3, for example, if I was playing Modern Warfare 3, you're dead in a big giant battlefield full of like 20 dudes shooting at you at once. But in this game, it's like, all right, you know, focus on the big dude or take out all the little dudes, then focus on the big dude, which is very more video game-esque, if that makes sense. But it's just, it feels so good. Yeah, Hitman, like I said, I don't know about you, but I just kept getting Hitman vibes while playing through that campaign. But it
especially
was,
like when you're down in the sewers, in that part in the sewers, when you're trying to sneak through all those dudes. It was very cool.
Yes. It was, the campaign felt very James Bond meets Mission Impossible meets Jason Bourne. It was great. But what was your thoughts and feelings on the campaign?
Well, I've got very similar feelings. I loved the fact that, you know, when you play games, right, and they throw a mechanic at you and you're like, oh, this is fun, and then you do it over and over and over and over, and you're like, I can't be fucked with this anymore. They never do that. They throw a mechanic at you and you use it once or twice and then it's done and they move on. So it never got stale. Everything that you're doing felt fresh. Like you were infiltrating that underground fucking black site. And like to start that mission, you had to go through. You had to choose your path. You had to schmooze this lady, or you had to steal this. And then you're in there and you're sneaking through, and then there's a huge gunfight. And then you're on motorbikes, and then you're sneaking through a canal, and then you're in Desert Storm, bloody assaulting one of Saddam Hussein's palaces. And then there's a horror mission, and then you're robbing a casino, and it just kept going and going and going and going. I loved the Pantheon, the enemy. I thought that was a very cool enemy. I loved how they introduced them. You know, you're playing that first mission, and you're going to get that. I think he's like an Iranian minister or something.
Yeah.
And you disable the convoy, and you get there, and he's like, "What are you doing? Like, you've already got me. Like, I was on my way to hang out with those CIA dudes," and you're like, "What? But we're CIA. Like, what is happening?" And then the Pantheon come in and they just go to town.
Absolutely fantastic.
And it just started, and then like it was like this cool spy thriller.
Yeah.
Which was what Cold War was like as well. I really enjoyed how, like, because you know in Cold War how there was a lot of decisions that you had to make. You know, there was that one on the rooftop. You could save Park, or you could save that guy. I can't remember what his name was, but like, and you play through it, and it plays out the game differently. You get to the end, and you can kill Adler, or you can not. They made a decision, and they were like, "Cool, this is how Cold War played out. What you did doesn't matter. This is what actually happened."
Which is fine with me, you know.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. We've spent an entire episode talking about decisions in games, and so just So I won't go back to that conversation.
But no. So it was fine. It just solidified what actually happened in Cold War, and it kind of carried on. You run into some old characters from Cold War. There's some new ones. My two favorite characters in the whole thing were the two new characters, that assassin, Sevi, I think her name was, and Felix. I wish they had done more with them. Whether we get a Black Ops 7 and they dive more into the story of that, I don't know, but I feel like we got together this awesome team and they were kind of underutilized. Also on the battlefield, I don't know if you noticed, but your teammates did fuck all.
Oh my
They
gosh. I'm not
they
even kidding. The
ran.
whole entire reason it's
Yeah.
not a 10 out of 10 is because of those freaking teammates. Like, they would not get out of my way. They wouldn't shoot anything. And, like, if they did shoot
No.
something, it's like they were shooting sponge bullets. I don't know.
Yeah, they just they were there for looks, not for anything else. I actually didn't notice until that mission where you're defending the rook and there was one enemy left and you've got your whole team there and I was running off to do something and I turned around and I was like, "Oh, have they killed this guy yet?" And they hadn't. There was one enemy left and he was shooting at them, they were shooting at him, and like nothing was happening.
Yeah, I mean,
Ah.
it is crazy to me because out of all the nice things that I've said about Black Ops 6 tonight, yeah, you're absolutely right. It felt like 10 steps back. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
10 steps back with the AI that operate those teammates because I'm like,
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times I was behind cover and my teammates were like, "Hey, what's up? Do you want to see my crotch?" And I'm like, "No, I'm trying to shoot somebody here." Like, and then I'd get like mission failed because they hopped out in front of me and I was shooting somebody. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And it's not like they were trying to shoot at something. They were literally just walking around and they just decided to stop and look at me. And I'm like, "Dude, this feels like I'm playing a 360 game." Like, the AI was bad.
And it was the same. Call of Duty's never done stealth well. It was kind of the same with the stealth. Like, you're sneaking through some areas and you can walk right up behind people and they'll never even see you. But they can see you through walls and they can see you through pillars and they can see you underwater and they see you and then everyone knows where you are. So it's kind of the same with the enemy AI. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't great.
Yeah. It felt like an improvement, but you're right. It wasn't like crazy amazing or anything.
Yeah. I'm not gonna give away anything, but the ending wasn't much for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe in a week or two we can talk about, like, we can do a spoiler cast of it, but I just thought the ending was a bit like, oh, really? That's it? Cool. But yeah, 8.5 for me.
Yeah.
It would have been higher, but there are just a few little things that brought it down. Didn't stop my fun. My fun was still a 10 out of 10, but just these things brought it down. Oh, I also love the fact there's no collectibles. Like,
oh my gosh, me too.
Like, I didn't
collectibles.
I didn't realize how much they like influence me. If I see that something has collectibles, I'm getting them. Whether I want to or not, I'm getting them.
Do you enjoy them or are you doing it for the achievements?
Exactly.
Wait, you are doing them for the achievements?
Usually I'm doing them for the achievements.
Okay.
But they had a kind of collectible with the cash. Just having money spread around that you could collect and then bring back to your base to like upgrade your character to make your playthrough easier. I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. You can even unlock gun skins for the multiplayer with that money.
Yes. Yep, which is pretty cool.
Now, and another thing that's worth mentioning is that there's one mission you can do where you can just respawn. Or like you can restart mission, run, grab some cash there in the beginning area, rinse, repeat, and you'll just build up your money that way. So it's not like you need to find every single pile of money. I was able to pop the achievement for that really easily, which I'm still working on a achievement guide for the website.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm very close. I haven't done that. I think I've opened 7 safes. But I wasn't going out of my way to do it. They kind of just are there, which is really nice and they're really easy to open. But yeah, like I said, this is fucking a brilliant Black Ops or a brilliant Call of Duty, and I am so on board for it.
I'm so glad like me and you had such a great experience with it. The last
Yep.
thing I'll say that you just touched on was the safes and stuff. There's a lot of puzzles in the game. I'm not a big puzzle person. I don't love them, but this game does a great job at giving you a difficult enough puzzle, but not. It gives you everything you need to know pretty upfront. Like, hey, here's what you do. Like the keypad. So they'll have keypads throughout the game where it's like, hey, look at the 4 numbers that were most touched with your blue
Little
light.
black light.
Yeah, black light. Yeah, use your black light to see which numbers were touched the most often. Then you press in those numbers and see if you need to move those numbers around. So it's like it's not expecting you to try out every single combination of the 4. So it like helps you, but also not in a way where it's like not too easy, you know?
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on from there because we definitely went on about Black Ops for pretty much the majority of the episode here. So let's talk about, before we get into our next story, I do want to talk about the Gamer Social Club Game of the Month because we were going to talk about that before getting into the news. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and touch on that. So it is November 1st at the time of recording this. We are still voting on what the next game is going to be that we cover in the month of November. Fraser, you got the list for that, right? What are the...
Yes, I do. So currently we're looking at Cult of the Lamb, which is something that has been an interest to me for quite a while. So I've thrown my vote on for that. Unfortunately, in October on Xbox, it was on sale for 50% off. That sale's now ended. And it's now back up to full price. I think it's 60 AUD for the full thing.
Okay.
Which is a shame, because it would have been nice if we were able to grab that on sale before it was the game of the month. But anyway, moving on from that, Atlas Fallen has been re-added to Game Pass with all the DLC and all the fun things. Another game I've never played. I think it's a RPG of some description. Neon White, which looks very interesting. I had no idea what it was. I looked up a little video of it. It's like a first-person roguelite shooter style thing. That's coming in very close second at the moment. Anthem, because every single month everyone wants to play Anthem.
Well, it's funny because you suggested it, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's got 1 vote so far, but I wouldn't mind hopping back in for a match or two. That game's fun.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's got all the achievements for it, and he went fucking bananas for it.
Wow.
So I know that he would be keen to jump back in and play more. Yeah. And then the last one was Drover Forsaken Kin.
Yeah.
Now we have got a review of this on the gamersocialclub.ca. Harry reviewed it, and he's been releasing a whole bunch of guides and stuff for it. I believe, if I pull it up really quickly, he gave it an 8.5, and really enjoyed it. So we'll see how that goes. Currently, if I just pull up the thing really quickly, yeah, Cult of the Lamb is still in the front. And then we've got Neon White and Atlas Fallen very close behind. So if you feel like any of those games are an interest to you, make sure you jump into our Discord and come and join the social club. And we'll just have some fun.
The invite is in the description below. Last month we covered Callisto Protocol. If you've been following along with us, Callisto Protocol, we were sharing screenshots and sharing our experiences with it. I was somebody who wasn't as high on it. There was a couple people in the chat who felt higher on it upon playing it the second time. It was a good time. And I'm really glad that I went back and played it. I found myself a lot more interested in these games of the month more than I thought I would be. So it's been a lot of fun, and we would love to have you join us.
Russell, how far did you get in Callisto Protocol? Did you end up finishing it?
I got like 2/3 of the way through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think you'll finish it, or are you kind of done with it?
Eventually, at some point, I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
As far as horror games go, finishing for some reason, even though I beat it probably 3 or 4 times now, finishing Resident Evil 7 is at the top of my horror list.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then Steam's, even though it's November, this is a free advertisement for Steam. They're still doing like their spooky sale, and I grabbed Outlast 1 and 2, which I played part of the first one on Xbox when I was still a console gremlin. So I'm gonna get back into that.
Love it. Love it.
Oh man. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. We got 2 more news stories left to do, but we're gonna run through the second one real quick. And then I know, Russell, you've been keeping up with some of the drama, so if you want to chime in on that too, absolutely feel free to do that. So we've got Dragon Age the Veilguard has finally released this week. Don't know why I didn't make that story number 1. We just had a lot to talk about when it came to Black Ops. So, Dragon Age the Veilguard released yesterday. I took the day off of work to celebrate Halloween with my family and play Dragon Age. So, I kept the chat updated. I was like, started at 12 midnight, and then made my character for an hour and a half, played for 30 minutes, fell asleep for like 3 hours, and got like maybe 3 hours in after that when I woke up in the morning time. But once the kids were awake, it was just impossible. Like I kept trying to like pay attention to cutscenes and stuff, and they were like, "Daddy, Marshall pooped," and I'm like, "Crap." But anyways, no pun intended. Anyways, so it's been met with a lot of mixed reviews. And to say mixed reviews is kind of odd, because it is so hot or it is so cold. I have yet to see any, myself personally, maybe there's some out there, but I have not seen any reviews that are in the middle. It's either people really, really, really hated it or people really, really loved it. So I'm not going to speak too much on it. I kind of want to leave most of my thoughts to a review or sitting down with Jamie, our lead reviewer, on it. But I will say that my first impressions, I've been taking lots of notes, and I plan on continuing to take notes every X amount of hours or X amount of quests to see how I'm feeling on it. I am going to have to change my mindset on it. I'm going to have to really be like, this wasn't what I was expecting. That doesn't mean that it's bad. And I have to adjust. I'll just, that's kind of my biggest thing in my impressions, is that I'm going to have to adjust my expectations here from this. Not that, and again, it's not that it's bad, it's just that it's different. And I think that's where it's like, if this is a different that doesn't work for you, then I can see why you would just hate it. Because you're like, no, this is Dragon Age, you've changed it, and I hate this very much. So I do understand some of the hate. The writing has to do a lot to win me over. It's not going great. I'm not gonna lie. There's definitely some moments where I'm just like, oh boy, this is okay. But other than that, I think combat's amazing. I really love the combat. I think it's really good. But again, I'm going to try and save most of my thoughts for a review. But I am enjoying it. I think that, but I kind of wanted to touch on the drama today. Like I said, I know Russell's definitely been keeping up with that. I don't know how much you've been keeping up with it, Fraser, but like...
No drama. We don't want no drama.
But like, people need to understand, or well, I don't know if how many people even know, but they were given 50, like most reviewers played like 50 hours ish, 50 to 55. You're supposed to get in like around 70. Most people got their codes a week ago and were given a week to actually write the review. And then, crap, guys. Sorry about the edit, folks. I had an emergency. I had to take care of.
Nathan almost shit himself.
Both emergency.
I was just like mid sentence, and I was like, guys, I stopped the recording. I'm gonna crap myself, and I just it jumped up. Oh my gosh. So
All right.
where I left off is as far as Dragon Age goes, they gave out codes a week in advance for this game. This is a game that I think requires a lot of deep diving. You need to experience all the side quests. You don't want to feel rushed. A lot of the complaints I was seeing surrounding the combat was like, oh, it feels repetitive. It feels repetitive. But it's like, yeah, it's going to feel repetitive if you keep trying to like rush through it. You know, look at games like Diablo, for example. It's a lot of fun. It is so much fun to experiment with all the different move sets and abilities and the armor that you get. But if you tackle this game in a way that you are just farming experience just to get experience, you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, you can't sit there and complain about the game being bad and repetitive when you are tackling the game as if it is this farming for XP simulator. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way I'm seeing some of these combat arguments, as far as people saying it's bad and it's repetitive. For me, I think back to the evolution of the Dragon Age combat system. It's like the first one was very point click. Second one was a little more action heavy, but it was still point click. And then third was still kind of point click, but definitely tried to take the first two games and combine their combat systems together and make it something better. But with this game, it is very, there is no point and click to this. It is very much in your face. You need to be on your toes. You need to be jumping all around. Now, listen, if you choose to just do light attack, heavy attack, that's all you do. That is on you. But there are some really cool abilities that I am seeing so far. Big skill trees with lots of different power combinations. There are powers that you can, of your companions, that you can combine together to make even more powerful abilities. So to me, it has all the ingredients to have a great combat. It's just really how you interact with it. Much like Starfield. Like, you got out of Starfield what you wanted to put into Starfield. So if you're like, I'm not big into crafting games, there's too much crafting in it. Well, it's like, okay, well, that's kind of on you for crafting in the game. The game doesn't necessarily force you into crafting. You can go about it in a different way. So, you know, it's a lot like that in that sense. But yeah, the tone is definitely a little different. If people want to complain about it not being dark, honestly, I can see it, but I can also see where this game is still kind of dark. Like especially like the main enemies, like the Darkspawn, they seem a lot darker to me. Like they don't just look like generic goblins anymore. They look like, you know, some pretty messed up monster things. But Russell, you've been kind of keeping up with the drama surrounding the reviews and stuff. What's your input on it? I know you haven't played the game.
I'm obviously not the Dragon Age fan that you are. But I happen to be a Mr. Matty Plays fan, so it was difficult to consume his content this week and not be very aware of what's going on. It's interesting that you brought up Starfield, because I was actually thinking that this game was about as polarizing as that, for different reasons though. Some of them being political, which I'm going to try not to get too much into that. And it's not, for the record, peeps, if you're listening, I try to avoid politics on these by the simple fact of, like, talking about them is you're just going to piss someone off. So why even fucking bother? We all have our opinions. If you want to listen to someone yabble about it, go fuck off and listen to someone else talk about it. I have no interest in getting into that discussion. It just, having a discussion, you're not having a debate with someone where you might be able to convince them of your side. You're just yelling into the ether. So what the hell's the point?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was a little gutted to see Mr. Matty and as down on it as he was, just because I know that he's a big Dragon Age fan. So that was a little disappointing, and I'm seeing it's almost like if you are a Dragon Age fan and you have a it's funny because in a lot of these situations, like with Starfield, it seemed like if you were a Bethesda fan, you could find something to enjoy, but if you were a new fan, you were bored. As where with this, it's almost the opposite, in that a lot of hardcore Dragon Age fans are not a fan of this at all, and like some newer fans seem to be finding a lot to enjoy. I will actually name drop her because I checked out her Twitter right before PMS Jordan. Seems to so far, I don't know how much she's into it, like as far as like how far she's gotten, but I don't think she has played much Dragon Age. If she ever sees this and I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but she seems to be enjoying it. She just judging by her Twitter, she's like maybe a couple hours in. So I've been seeing that reflected a lot. To the review thing, now obviously, as Dano has stated, like these outlets don't necessarily owe anyone codes. They can give them out to whoever they please, and that's that. As far as whether or not they were being selective, I mean, you can never really prove that. I guess it did seem a little odd to me.
Yeah, there's really no
Who
proof
was
of it.
getting codes versus who wasn't, as far as early codes go. Anyway, try not to get like too into that, but I did find the 70-hour mandate or whatever, was that just a rumor or was that something that was actually proven to be true? Because I know that, so with not to get too into the weeds with this, but with Mr. Matty, there was that NDA that floated around for about a day that turned out to be complete bullshit.
Yeah.
So do we know for a fact that there was a requirement to allegedly play 70 hours?
That's the thing, is I talked about it in our messages and I don't know anymore. Like I can't remember where I heard that from, so I wasn't even going to repeat it on the podcast because I'm like, I'm not 100% for certain. So
I have listened to one other podcast and I've read a review. None of them mentioned that you had to play 70 hours, but both of them did mention that they played over 70 hours.
Did they? And were they positive?
So whether that were yeah, they were both positive. Yep.
Okay.
But whether that was because of that, or whether that's just like, fuck, I put a lot of time into it, so like I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's just interesting that they, like the two that I have seen, were both mentioned how much time they had put into it versus not mentioning it.
Well, Monday night, I pretty much spent my entire night while I was driving just listening to different people's reviews. I listened to Mr. Matty. I listened to Skill Up, which were both like the most harshest critics of the game. And then
I think though that they were harsh because they didn't get their code, and they were a bit butthurt.
No, they got their code.
Well, no. Mr. Matty did get an early code.
Yeah, Skill Up and Mr. Matty both got their codes. Like, they gave it a review, and they put, like, 55 hours in. And this was, like, the first time I've listened to Mr. Matty. I've heard of him, but this was the first time I was actually, like, listening to his content. And honestly, I really like the way he talks. You could tell that he gave it a lot of thought. You could tell that he really happened to say everything he was saying. He definitely was not trying to scrounge up drama. In fact, you could tell he was very heartbroken because he knew already his words were going to get twisted and his words were going to... So I do really and did enjoy his review. And I had nothing against it. And Skill Ups was definitely, like, extremely harsh. Like, I don't know much of Skill Up, but yeah, it was pretty harsh. He was basically like, "There's no redeeming qualities to this game at all." And I was like, "Well, that just seems a little overboard." But no, what Mr. Matty was kind of getting at, I understood where he was coming from a lot of perspectives, and I can see why he would feel that way he was feeling. Up until the point of him talking about combat, you could kind of tell when he started talking about combat, he was just kind of defeated and just like, whatever. It didn't really like even say much on it. He was just like, it's just repetitive. You just press the same two buttons. I'm like, okay, well, that's just not really how the combat works. But you talking about those two reviews right there, right? Where you're like, they both played over 70 and they were positive. The one thing I noticed about all the reviews that I looked at and read and all this stuff was the people who played it the most enjoyed it the most. And it really seems like you gotta put into it what you want to get out of it. And I think, you know, when it does come to people like Mr. Matty and Skill Up, it's the age-old thing of people will look for confirmation in their argument, right? You know, they'll look for anything that's going to validate their feelings. So when they're sharing clips of bad dialogue, right? Just remember, like, they're going in here and they're picking this out and being like, yeah, the whole entire game is this. And it's not. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, no, it doesn't exist. Because that's the thing is, oh, did I freeze up on you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, the game definitely has those very cringy moments. Definitely has its moments in the writing that are just like, oh, I can't believe somebody wrote this down on paper and was like, yeah, let's put it in a game. And then somebody read it off and was like, yeah, this sounds good. I'm just like, how did it make it this far? It blows my mind. But with that being said, I wish I kind of hadn't listened to those reviews because I was bracing myself for it being nothing but that. It's very much, it happens every once in a while, and it's definitely bad, but it's not like, oh, it's unplayable because every word out of everybody's mouth makes me want to throw myself off a bridge. So, but I'll toss it back to you, Russell, because you said, you are more of the Mr. Matty guy and have been able to.
So no, yeah, that's fine. There is one more point I wanted to make. So, assuming everything he said in that review was true, and I have no reason to believe otherwise, I did want to point up or touch up on something. So, he had said that he played a preview and was really stoked about it. And apparently this happened to him with Redfall too. I want to call this out a little bit. He was told that everything, apparently the way it worked was he played like some sections out of the game and they were all pulled from certain save files, and he was told that everything he played was from Act 1. So in other words, everything he played was front loaded. So evidently he didn't get through all of the content he played until the preview, until the 9th chapter in a 14-chapter game. That doesn't sound like Act 1 to me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to call that out a little bit. That, to me, is pretty fucking deceptive. I guess, you know, EA can do whatever the hell they want. But I just kind of think that's bullshit.
Yeah. I would be interested in hearing, like, what the developers would have to say about, like, why they did that, or if they even meant, if it was just an accident, it was, like, at least, like, address it, especially since his video is blowing up so much.
Yeah, so then I'm thinking about that from a reviewer's standpoint, too. So, like, if I, you know, say we end up getting bigger, and I was to get a big game like that, and something like that happened to me where I played a preview, I would feel pretty betrayed and pretty pissed off, because then you're just making me look like an asshole.
Right. Yeah. And it does put you in a position to be like, all right, well, you know, these developers, I love them and I want the best for them, and they tried their best to make a good game, but I need to be honest about how I feel about it. And so, yeah, I had no issues with Mr. Matty, and then, like I said, Skill Up, I don't know who, I don't know him very well. I know he's a big YouTuber,
I've heard his,
but
I've heard his name, but I don't really know a lot about him. I haven't watched his content or anything. So.
The one thing I will say is he also didn't really seem to be that much of a hate mongerer. Because he made sure to say, he's like, look, I want success for the studio. I want people to love this game. I want people to have a good time. Go make your opinions for yourself. Go listen to other people who were positive on it. And honestly, when I was listening to him, I'm like, man, that's something like whenever we talk about games, we need to be doing as far as like, hey, like make sure you're checking this game out for yourself. Don't just take our words for it. I mean, things of that nature. So whenever a reviewer does that, I respect them a lot more. When a reviewer comes out and it's like, game's trash, have a nice day, I do not respect their opinions, period. Like, they could even say it's a really great game, but like, if they're sitting there kind of just being like, just listen to me and have a good day, I don't respect them as much.
I will say that upon reading the reviews and listening to all the things, I wasn't going to play Dragon Age. I was going to pick it up at some point, maybe next year, maybe in a bit. I've fallen off RPGs a lot recently. I don't know why. I think it might just be the fact that they require so much time. Even though I'm putting in 100 hours into Space Marine, that's a different fucking story, all right? It's a different story. Don't come at me with that bullshit. But like listening to this, I'm more keen to play it now than I was before hearing it.
Oh, hold on. You guys froze.
Have I frozen up?
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you guys-
Okay, I got you back. I got your audio back.
All right. Yeah. So, like I said, like I wasn't going to play this, but after hearing the reviews and seeing what people have liked about it, I think I am going to play this. The idea of like an action RPG versus a character driven RPG versus like a full on RPG, like this seems to be more my jam. So yeah, I'll be interested to see kind of what Nathan and what I think Lady V's playing it, and I think Jamie's playing it as well. Yeah, I'll be interested to see like what everyone feels about it. Maybe 2 weeks in, maybe 3 weeks in, once all of this kind of nonsense has died down, and just to see what it's like after people have actually played it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if I could, the last thing I'll say on it in regards to all of that is, I would not put this in the frame of a full-blown RPG.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm interested in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
kind of, the fact that you brought up Space Marine 2, because Space Marine 2 has kind of been on my mind while playing this game, because Space Marine 2, the thing we've been talking about when playing it is that it brings back that Xbox 360 era style of game. And I feel the same way about this game. I feel that it brings back a time period where it's like, okay, not everything needs to be open world. I'm a big believer in catching people doing something right. And the thing that does kind of confuse me, and I hate to bring back the negative reviews again, but like Mr. Matty even brought that up. He's like, all the areas are really small and confined and like walkways and narrow. And I'm like, while I'm playing this, again, this is just my first impression. This is not my review versus somebody else's review. My first impression is, no, this is exactly how Dragon Age 2 was. This is, Dragon Age 1 was this way. The third one, oh shoot, the name's slipping my mind.
Inquisition?
Inquisition, thank you. Inquisition was a little more open-areaed.
And I didn't like that about it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is, most people complained about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But yeah, like most people complained about that. You weren't the only one. And so I feel like they were trying to go back to their roots a little bit more. So to complain about that feels like speaking out two sides. Well, again, I don't know what his opinions were on Inquisition, so I can't sit here and be like, oh, you're speaking out two sides of your mouth. Okay. sorry.
you need to
There's
go do
a
something,
lot of
Nathan?
no. I'm sorry.
Is
I've
that
got a
Poe
dog
coming back?
playing with the squeaky toy here, and there's just a lot of noise. So I'm like trying to communicate
Oh,
to everybody.
dude,
that
I
they're
was
can't-
gonna say, if you need to go do something, me and Fraser could
No,
bullshit about
oh, no,
Concord for a minute or
No,
something.
no, you're
but-
good. You're good. I was just trying to communicate to the family that I was like, okay, we're out of here. We need to be out of here.
It's funny because I couldn't hear it.
Oh,
I couldn't
really?
hear anything.
No, I couldn't hear
Oh.
anything.
Oh, okay. Thank God,
Wouldn't have-
because dude,
Wouldn't have a clue that anything was happening apart from your poop.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm telling you, my new puppy had a squeaky toy, and he was sitting here going me, but like right by my head this whole time. I can't believe you didn't hear that. But anyways, so yeah, the Dragon Age thing, I feel like it's honestly just that is more Dragon Age. There are some things people are complaining about that I'm like, no, this has always been a part of Dragon Age, and it is the thing of like you said. I think you are right. Upon my first impressions, you are right that you could hop into this game. It's not going to be this full-blown RPG that takes hundreds and hundreds of hours from you. This is not Baldur's Gate 3, nor should it be compared to Baldur's Gate. And not to mention, oh gosh. Now, one more thing I'm going to say about it, and then I need to shut up, is the dialogue options. You got, it's always been Renegade, Paragon, and, good versus bad options. People are complaining about how, well, you can't just be bad. True, I can see where that is a negative. This dialogue is not... They're trying to make Rook a specific person. This is definitely not role-playing as Baldur's Gate. You know what I mean? Like, if you are going to compare, it's like, you aren't this homemade person and you decide who you are from the core. It's like, no, you're the character Rook. You can be a confident Rook. You could be a sarcastic Rook. Or you could be a just nice guy. Like, those are your three options. It's not you're good or you're bad. So, you like I said, this game is very much just kind of readjusting your mind to a new format. Not so much like good versus bad. And it's just doing something different. It's just doing something different. That's all. So I can understand why other long-term fans, such as myself, are having a hard time with it, because I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around it, which is why I'm holding off on my, full review and full thoughts and opinions. But did you guys have anything more you wanted to say about that, or should we jump right into Concord?
Let's go into Concord.
Concord it is.
Let's go into Concord.
Concord Studios, Firewalk Studios, got shut down this week. We covered that on our website, of course, gamersocialclub.ca. We talked about how Firewalk Studios got shut down by Sony. Apparently they spent 2 months talking about it and trying to figure out where they were going to go from here. It is reported that they sold only 25,000 copies. I don't think that's facts. I think it's just been kind of said internally and reported on. As to if that's facts or not, we don't know. But we can only imagine that it has to be that bad for them to basically take 1 week to say, you're done. We're shutting it down. Say what you want about Redfall. Say what you want about Xbox. But at least they gave Redfall a year. At least they gave it a year to figure out their stuff before they shut down the studio. It sucks that they shut it down, but because they were a good studio. And that's the thing that sucks even more here, is that they shut the studio down. Like, they had a good game. This was a good game. They just couldn't grab people's interest, and they just shut down the studio. It seems to me, reading between the lines, that it was led to layoffs. Not sure exactly how many people that was. It looks like it led to layoffs, and that's also another thing. It's like, these are extremely talented people who did a damn good job, and they didn't deserve to have their jobs lost, in my opinion. I think that, they probably, why not at least find them a different position in the company? You guys own Bungie. take them back. Like, a lot of those people came from Bungie originally anyways. Put them back on the Bungie team. Put them back. I don't know. To me, I don't understand. But
Bungie's got their own issues right
yeah, they've
now.
got their own issues too. But
I think actually Sony just took a bunch of people from Bungie and sprinkled them into other studios, if I remember right.
They did. So honestly, it feels like Bungie is starting to dwindle away. That's just my feelings on it. Is it feels like Bungie is starting to dwindle away now too. But the main thing that I had to say about it is, or the thing that surprises me, I know most people would sit there and be like, well, Nathan, you're a freaking idiot for thinking that it was going to go anywhere else but here. But I would argue that, well, you put in reportedly, I don't know, 200 million into this game. At least that's the word on the street, is that they put 200 million into the game. And to give you an idea, I believe, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, Spider-Man 2 cost somewhere around 220, 240 million.
Couldn't tell you.
But I think with advertising it was closer to 300 million, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing, is I'm not feeling super confident when I say that number, so take it lightly when I say that. But I do know, like, when we're talking about Last of Us Part 2 and God of War, like, we're talking in the 200s range. So
well, I can be Mr. Fact Checker here, like I usually am.
Okay, yeah. So let's just say that.
Actually.
So with that being said, it's like, I would think if you put in, 200 some million dollars into a game, you are going to want to see your return as much as possible. I think that's where we start to see the personality differences between Xbox and PlayStation, is the fact that Xbox gave the developers the time they needed to kind of turn the ship around, right the ship, and see what they could do. Whereas PlayStation, I feel like, was like, no, this is a stain on our image as a company. It hurts our, bougie, so to say, brand. And I can see where it's like you'd rather just take the loss in money and say, I don't want to hurt my image, because it's already damaged our wallet enough. If we try to continue to salvage this and continue to be a laughingstock, that is going to be even more damage than 200 million. So I guess, me personally, I'm just surprised that they looked at it that negatively, that they felt that there was no way to redeem this, that they couldn't reskin it, that they couldn't make. And I guess, like I said, it's like, if you make it free to play, I guess you're still just taking something that's a laughing stock of the town and trying to, I don't know. So I don't know. I'm just very sad about it.
Yeah.
But what did you end up finding, Russell?
What's up?
What did you end up finding fact checking?
Oh, as far as Sony goes, sorry, I turned off the auto fucking white balance because I look like a vampire. So it looks like there's a little bit of debate, but somewhere around 300 million. I've seen as high as 315. The Google AI says 300 million, which I don't trust that thing at all. But
okay.
It seems like right around 300 million. Jesus, it had to sell 7 million copies just to be profitable? Wow. Okay. There's licensing and paying Disney and stuff involved with Spider-Man 2, so it's a little more complicated than that. But that's what Spider-Man 2 was. I've also seen figures debated with Concord as far as their shit goes. But while you've got me on me, because I've got the nerd shit pulled up here, I am on SteamDB, Steam database. There's some debate about how to calculate sales on PC. Some people say 6-1, 7-1, 10-1, but the all-time peak player count 3 months ago with this game was 697 players.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Wait.
Steam. Okay, wait.
That's Steam. I would be curious as to what PlayStation is.
The Twitch stat says 113,000, so I don't know what that means exactly.
Is that how many people were watching
the game, streaming the game? I don't know.
See, that would make
really
sense to me.
What
I'm
that
sure
means.
People are curious of it.
Yeah, I don't really know what that means in conjunction with Twitch. but I think that's pretty inconsequential as far as like sales and stuff goes. But I've seen some theories thrown around that like all-time peak players you can theorize like 7-1. So we'll round up and say 700. So if you times that number by 7, that might mean the sales. If you times it by 10, that might mean the sales. In reality, I don't think there's any way to really know that. I mean, it's fair to assume that this would be a fraction of what you would sell because not everyone that bought the game is going to be playing at the same time. Right. It's just not how reality works. But we do know that, like, what was it? Baldur's Gate all-time peak was in the hundreds of thousands of players. And I know all told across all consoles, that's sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 million. So, like, this is, like, not, obviously, we may never know the exact sales, but this is not a good sign. Does anyone know that Amazon game documentary crap that's going on? I'm assuming they're still planning on doing a Concord episode? Or whatever that...
I'd
secret
say
level
they,
or whatever it was.
Yeah, secret level. I would say that they're probably going to drop it.
If they don't, I'll be watching that with popcorn in my lap.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'm very, very, very interested to see what would go on there.
I mean, this is gonna go down as like gaming history, right?
Yes.
This must be the worst received game of all time.
I don't know about worst received. I would say.
Well, because Kong was pretty bad, wasn't it?
Well, no. I would say
one?
biggest flop. I would say biggest flop. Like,
yeah.
I don't know that a AAA studio has ever lost to this type. Let's take the rumored 25,000 at face value. Hell, let's be generous and say it's 30,000 copies. Like, if the low end, because I've heard with rumors anywhere from 200 million to 400 million if you calculate like certain other monies and stuff. Let's say it's the low end, 200 million. 25,000 copies, that was $40 a piece. That's pennies compared to what they spent on it.
Yep.
So like, I mean, they lost their asses on this.
Oh yeah.
I don't. So this is all part of Sony's like live service initiative. Obviously, Helldivers 2 did really well. I guess you could. What was the Square Enix Splatoon ripoff? Foam Stars.
Oh, Foam Stars, yeah.
You could kind of throw that in there. That's not really a Sony property. I know Helldivers 2 is technically a second party because they own the IP, but not the studio. But it's still a Sony game. And then this bombed awful. I mean, we don't know a ton yet, but like Marathon is not looking promising with what's going on with Bungie. So like, if I have a question for you two, if Marathon comes out and it flops, is Sony just going to backpedal this entire live service initiative? Because I know that they've already canceled. Some of it's through rumors, some of it's through official announcements. There was the rumored Spider-Man multiplayer, which we don't know if that ever really even existed. It seems like it did, but who knows? But that's been canceled, supposedly, as canceled as something could be if it's never announced. Last of Us multiplayer, we know that was coming and that was dropped. We don't know how far along it was, regardless of what people think they might know online. So, and we do know they put out an announcement that they were canceling a bunch of their live service stuff here, like late last year, early this year, whatever that was. But they didn't announce all the games they were shit canning, so we don't know. So if Marathon flops, does Sony backpedal and just like give up on live service? Or, I mean, I'm sure that they thought that they were like going to lose money doing this because you can't possibly like expect every one of these to be a Fortnite. But like, there has been talk, I don't know how factual it is, like they thought this was going to be really big and it was very much the opposite.
I haven't been following Marathon, which is weird because like I thought I would have been. Is it multiplayer only?
Marathon, I think so.
Yeah.
So there's no single player story.
Let me do my nerd thing, but
I don't think
an extraction shooter is different to a hero shooter. I will play. I will give an extraction shooter a go. I will not play a hero shooter.
Let alone pay $40 for it.
Yeah. I like the idea of extraction shooters. If they're done well, they are brilliant. They need to have a PvE part to it. Like a PvP extraction shooter's not my jam. Like I said, I know nothing about Marathon. I thought I would have been following it, but because doesn't Marathon have something to do with Halo?
So I know that like there was some people when this was first announced and they saw like the first trailer, they were comparing it as like, oh, this is Sony's answer to Halo, but like I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't know that it really goes any deeper than that. I could be wrong though, so don't quote me on. I'm on their website, right? Marathon the game. It just says from the creators of Halo and Destiny, which it's Bungie. So, coming out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. There's an awful lack of like details on the game.
Oh right, so yeah, originally it was released in 1994. That's the original Marathon was 1994. Okay. It was developed and published by Bungie. So that's, and then, because I remember there was something in Halo to do with Marathon, whether it was some imagery or something at some point. Yeah, that's where I was getting my wires crossed. I believe you probably can't see it, but there's like a symbol, that little purple symbol in the middle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could have that as your symbol for Halo 3, I believe.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that anyway.
A brief description. Become a runner in Bungie's new sci-fi PvP extraction shooter. Compete for survival, riches, and renown in a world of evolving, persistent zones where any run can lead to greatness. So maybe like roguelike or rogue-esque properties.
Are they using like Marathon and running a marathon? Is it gonna have something?
It literally starts out with become a runner. So yes, I guess I don't.
So you're a marathon runner with guns or some sort of weapons. All right, cool. Anyway,
I mean that sounds that there's just like by that vague description, it sounds insane enough to work, but I'm not really. But yeah, as far as I know, it's a PvP extraction shooter. I don't know that there is any PvE in this game at all.
Yep.
So I don't.
So like I feel that like you run such a risk with doing like just PvP. Like we've seen it time and time again. It just, and then like we've just received Black Ops where they've given us everything. And you can find something in that you will like. So I feel like making PvP only games alienates a lot of people. I will dabble in PvP, but it's not my draw. It's not my draw card. So things like The Division, things like Destiny. I will play the PvP, but only because it helps me advance in the PvE side of things. Like if you gave me Destiny as a PvP only experience, I don't think I would gel with it as much.
I absolutely agree with that. We've talked about this before, and I'm sure I'll say it 100 more times. I am that exact same way, where I've got to have an end goal. I've got to know what I'm trying to obtain. I love Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2, one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time. But I dropped out of Titanfall 1 pretty, no pun intended. I dropped out of Titanfall pretty quickly because I didn't feel like I was working towards anything. I just felt like I was doing the same thing over and over and over again and not really gaining anything from it other than just having a good time. But I think I think we're in the minority. Because, I mean, look at the amount of people who will just sit there and play Call of Duty multiplayer their entire lives and just be like, I want more.
You are right. You are right. But even things like, say, Rainbow Six Siege. When it came out, I bought it because I thought it was going to be another Rainbow Six game. It was PvP only. I dropped it.
Yeah.
Didn't touch it again until that like weird alien DLC thing came out. And I platinumed that. I platinumed Extraction. And then I thought, oh, do you know what? Maybe I'll give Siege another go. I played like one match and I was like, I fucking hate this.
My gosh.
Yeah. So it's that. But yeah, you're probably right. We are in the minority of people that,
Well, to answer your question, Russell, as far as I think they're already backpedaling. PlayStation is. I think they're already backpedaling their decision to do the live service thing. There's already just been so many things canceled, or whether it be internally. I'm pretty sure that, don't quote me on this, but as far as the Spider-Man one goes, I think there was even a moment when there was that leak that happened, and it came out, and then there was another leak where it was like, oh, it was canceled internally. The studio, people from within the studio themselves were like letting people know what it was going to be, because I think there was like a last-ditch effort to try to garner some interest to like revive it. And so I feel pretty comfortable in talking about that because I do know that in fact did happen.
I would say, based on the leak, the game was actually intended at one point. As far as how long it
was in development,
got along, is there character assets, is there maps, was it just on someone's clipboard at one point? Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But on leaks like that, the one thing you can assume is that it was planned for at one point. As far as how far along it got, who the hell knows? But
right,
yeah. Sorry, before you carry on, Nathan, do we have is there a release date for Marathon? Do we know when it's?
I'm not seeing anything on the website.
So it's still quite far away then, I would assume.
More than likely.
Yeah, okay.
This is the one that Xbox players made a big deal about because, and I assume it's in the deal somewhere for the game. As of right now, this is still coming to Xbox, but the deal with them and Xbox was obviously signed before PlayStation bought Bungie, and they were gonna obviously leave them to be autonomous. That's clearly not happening anymore. Can they backpedal on the deal if Xbox has something signed and the game comes out? I would say no, but I don't know the details about that. But this is the one where everyone made a big deal about it in one fashion or another, depending on the side of the fence you sat on. Console wars, fucking gremlins, because it's a PlayStation property that was coming to Xbox, so they must be going third party. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Well, guys, that rounds out our news segment. We are sitting somewhere roughly between an hour and 32 minutes. I don't know. Thanks to my sudden dump, I have no idea what the timestamps are. I've been trying really hard to keep track of the times. So Fraser has we all three have a little segment for you. So Fraser has his question corner. We'll go ahead and dig right into that.
Well, I guess, for me, recently, I've been playing through a lot of DLCs that I just haven't finished for whatever reason. So I think my question for you guys is, what makes a good DLC for you? Or what makes a bad DLC for you?
So, do you want to start with this, Nathan, or do you want me to take it?
You can go ahead and take it, if you want.
So... I mean, there's a lot of things that make a good DLC. So one quality I can say that makes a good DLC is when the developers listen to the fans. So you had brought this up obviously before we started recording, so I had a minute to think about this. To maybe even 3 examples I can think of. So, like with the original launch of Fallout 3, a lot of people complained because originally in that game, uh, I know I don't like doing spoilers, but like the game is almost 20 years old, so
Yeah,
like
I think we're safe
sorry.
to.
At the end of the game, it's not the only Fallout game to be based around a water purifier like type situation. And at the end of the game, after you find your father and he dies and blah 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 blah, you basically end up locking yourself in a water purifier and dying, and that's it. You're done. Now, before that, Oblivion had come out, and you finished the main quest, and you can just roll about your merry way after that and do whatever you want. So a lot of people were pretty pissed off, me being one of them. The
Mm,
first big DLC that came out fixed that, so then you're not actually dead, and then you can finish that DLC, and then you can go about your merry way and do whatever the hell you want. I think
yep.
that's a sign of like developers listening to people. Another one I'll bring up is Cyberpunk, the Edge Runners DLC. A lot of people complained about the beginning of the game being too much. So with the Edge Runner DLC, you can skip a lot of that crap if you want. And
Hmm.
then I don't know how much. I guess this would probably be listening to player engagement, but Fallout 4, a lot of people were like, "This isn't my Fallout. This isn't RPG enough. Where is my choice and consequences that you had in the prior games?" So then they came out with the Far Harbor DLC, which talk about fucking choice and consequences. If you haven't played it, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
So those are 3, well, two, definitely 2, maybe 3 that I can think of as far as like what makes a good DLC is like developers actually listening to player feedback
Yep.
and improving upon the game. What about you, Nathan, as far as like what makes a good DLC for you?
Well, I can tell you what doesn't make a good DLC for me, and it's just at the top of my head because of
Yeah,
Callisto
or just
Protocol.
not tell us.
Like,
You
You just
froze up.
froze out there.
oh wait, okay, so can you
Yeah,
hear me now?
Yep.
yeah.
I was gonna say I can tell you what's not a good example is Callisto Protocol, and you know whether you liked it or not, whether you deem it as good DLC or bad DLC, to basically say here's an open-ended ending to a game and then be like, hey, here's a continuation in this DLC. It's like, we know statistically speaking, a very small amount of people buy that DLC. And you're basically saying to the majority of the people buying your full price game, hey, go fuck yourself for not spending even more money on this game. Especially in a single player experience. It's like, no, I paid you top dollar for a premium single player experience, and you are purposefully telling me before release that we've got more to the story, but we're locking it behind this. Like, that just feels way too shady to me. It's like, no, either put out a full game or don't. So to me, that's like how you do not do a DLC. How you do?
Sorry, Nathan. Was that just an answer to a bad ending though? Is that because that's what people like? The ending of Callisto Protocol was crap, and then they were like, "Oh well, here's the real ending." Mass Effect did it as well. Remember when everyone complained? Mass Effect 3, sorry, everyone complained about the ending, so they gave us a DLC that gave us like a different ending.
Well, they
Like, do you think?
had the season pass before the game was released.
Yeah.
They were
Okay.
like,
Yep.
"Hey, we are going to give this to you." So
Yeah. Gotcha.
yeah,
Yep.
that
Yep.
yeah, I see what you're saying though. But yeah, if it had been a thing of like, "Hey, we heard you, now we're responding," then I wouldn't have said that. But yeah, they had planned that. Like, we're gonna sell you this $30 DLC. Here's what you're gonna get out of it. You're gonna
For Nathan
get
to
this
freeze.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I was gonna say, as far you bring up Mass Effect, I would say Mass Effect did it right. I even brought it up in the article about BioWare Magic that I wrote, where they, like Russell said, it's when you do listen to your audience and you do hear what they want to do, and you make the Citadel DLC, for example. The Citadel DLC is like you are interacting with your squad. It is a whole DLC basically contributed to just hanging out with your favorite NPC characters. That is a sign of a developer who knows their audience, knows why their fans love the game, and why they want to spend more time in it. And that to me is a good DLC. And I think the easy, cherry-picked answers is, of course, like Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, and Witcher 3, and those DLCs.
No, I don't know why. No, I don't know why I called it. Oh, I called it Edge Runners because of that fucking Netflix show.
Oh, you were talking
I'm a
about.
moron. Yeah, it was Phantom Liberty. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah,
neither here nor there.
Yep. That's my answer to that question. Did you guys hear my response to the? Because I don't know if my mic cut out.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got the gist of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have Nathan about what makes a bad DLC, or are you not there yet?
Oh no! You guys missed all of that.
Yeah, we must.
Yeah, I didn't hear the bad DLC part. If that's.
Yeah. Well,
I guess if you're recording, then the audience heard it. So.
Yeah. I went into a whole thing about Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah. We heard Callisto Protocol, so like obviously a non-ending. Although
or like hiding an ending behind a paywall, but I mean,
Callisto Protocol is a weird one though, because we know we were supposed to get a sequel and possibly several sequels, and then it kind of sounds like, well, we're not giving you another game, so just figure it out with a DLC or whatever. So
okay.
Yeah, what Nathan was saying is that the DLC was already there. It was already made. They had already decided that. So the DLC, the fact that the DLC changed the ending didn't really do anything for the fact that it was a crap ending.
Yeah. So you did hear that was the part I was worried you didn't hear. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's the thing that differentiates that between Mass Effect. So
Am I crazy in thinking that when it comes to DLCs, so Nathan did bring up that like, oh, I paid the full $60 for your fucking game, and then you're making me buy like more. So like, am I crazy for thinking like, because back in the day, I was always hungry specifically for Bethesda DLC because like you were paying for it, but it felt like with like Fallout 3. And Oblivion, and obviously it's not quite Bethesda, but like Fallout New Vegas, like it felt like you were
significant, weren't they?
Yeah, you felt like you were mostly getting your money's worth. I mean, there's bad Bethesda DLC. I'm specifically thinking of actually with the Fallout games, anything to do with Nuka anything basically. I didn't like the Pit, and I didn't like Nuka World. Actually, I would say anything to do with the Raiders. Actually, now that I'm bringing that up, but there would be content there, and there would be a lot of it. So like, I don't know. Am I being a fanboy in thinking that? Like, or is Bethesda just?
They were really good at DLCs.
Yeah,
they just are.
As far as bad deal, like what makes a bad DLC? There are DLCs where like you just get some more guns or a horse armor. Since I just got done praising Bethesda, I'll shit on them a little bit. So like, oh, you're gonna make me pay $5 and like, oh, my skill tree just got a little bit better and I got some armor for the fucking thing I ride. Thanks.
Yeah.
Like as far as what makes a bad DLC, like thanks for like those are the type of things where like I feel like they're just milking the guy that bought their fucking game. So like, what makes a bad DLC? Stupid shit that's really inconsequential in the long run, I guess.
Yeah.
To add to that real quick, Russell, was the Batman Arkham City. I will never forgive Rocksteady for putting a paywall behind the Catwoman story. That's insanity to me, because you do have a finished product. You do it is a part of the campaign, and you're literally locking missions behind paywalls. It's like happened over a decade ago, and I'm still salty about it. But what's your answer, Fraser?
Well, so recently I've played through 3 DLCs last week. So Maneater DLC. I played through Dead Island 2, Soul something, Soul Festival, and Alan Wake 2 DLC. So for me, what I hate the most when it comes to a DLC is when they strip you of everything that you've worked for in the game and make you start again.
That
So
is
for
such a good
instance,
answer.
Fallout. Sorry, not Fallout, Far Cry. They
Hmm.
do it with every fucking DLC known
Yeah.
to man. Especially I remember playing Far Cry 4 and they released the Tales of the Yeti or the something.
Mhm.
And you finish for Far Cry 4, you get in an airplane and you're like, "Sweet, I'm out of here." And the airplane crashes, you lose everything. Somehow you forget all the skills that you've learnt in the previous game. You lose all your weapons, you lose everything, and you fucking start again
You
from
got
scratch.
amnesia.
Yeah, right? Or they introduce another mechanic. Like, the DLC's a roguelite. I don't fucking play this game for a roguelite. I want it to be something else. Those things infuriate me so much. For a DLC, I want to be able to use all of the fun things that I've learnt and done and then advance more.
That is a great
So
call out.
Maneater was perfect for that. You finish the game, you are a genetically enhanced murdering machine, and then they add DLC. You start the DLC as this beast of a thing that you were, and then you just get stronger and better and faster and more intelligent, and it just adds more and more and more to the game. So there was that. Dead Island 2. Their first DLC, Dust House, was fucking great. Again, you keep everything that you have. They send you to this fun new location, and you beat your way through zombies to figure out this curse or whatever it was. Then the second DLC was exactly the same, but the location was just nowhere near as fun. It was open and empty. I think there was one new weapon and there was one new enemy as well. So I was really disappointed with that. Alan Wake 2, they again stripped you of everything, which I hate, but you were a different character and it was a new story. So it's not like I lost everything. It was like a continuation on of something from someone else's point of view. So that doesn't bother me either. So yeah, and then I love things that just add more to an existing experience, like for Fallout 4 when they released the Mechanist or the Mechanicist or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah.
And
Mechanist, but yeah.
and then all of a sudden there's all these robots now.
Yeah.
And you can build robots in your base. You can have robot companions. You can and they took the full world and the full experience and they just added more stuff to it rather than taking everything away.
Yep. Going back to the
I haven't-
game is a far better experience than if you were to play it on first release.
Yeah, exactly. So I still have to play Phantom Limb. I keep wanting to call it Phantom Pain, but Phantom Limb. I haven't played it yet. I hope to do it before the end of the year. But yeah. So yeah, that's my answer.
That's
I
awesome.
hate it when they take everything away from you, and I love it when they give you more stuff.
That is such a great call out. I can see why you thought of it because that's a great question.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Fraser's question corners. So let's go ahead and we'll end off on the Steam reviews. I have a question for you guys. It is Halloween themed because of Halloween. So, what is the top 5? Now, I'm getting this information from a website that is clearly a lot like Gamer Social Club. It's called Horror Game News. Let's see. Yeah, it is. It's horrorgamenews.com. So, what would you guys say is the top 10 most sold horror games or horror franchises? This article was done in July 20th, 2023.
Wait, horror franchises specifically relating to video games?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
I would think Resident Evil would have to be one.
So let's go from 10 to 1. What would you say is? Well, okay, all right. You know what? I didn't really give this part too much thought, did I?
No, you didn't. You didn't really give us a criteria here. So, and I know enough about horror games to know that Resident Evil is probably number 1.
That's true. Okay, all right. So, Resident Evil 1 is the number 1. It sold at 142 million copies.
So we're not talking franchises, we're talking games.
Yes. We are talking game franchises.
Okay, I was gonna say because there's no Resident Evil game that's sold that many copies. So a franchise as a whole. So do we want to go from 1 down, or do we want to?
We'll go from 1 down.
Spoiled the end.
No, you're good. That is my bad. So Resident Evil 1 is the top most sold franchise of all time at 142 million as of July 20th, 2023. And then what would you guys say is number 2 on that list? It is one step below, but it's a big step, actually.
Do you know what? I fucking love horror, and I can't think of any for the life of me. Silent Hill has to be on there.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm almost thinking it might be number 2. I know the Silent Hill sales figures, and if that's 1 and 2, that is a drastic difference.
He did say it was big.
I am going to say right now, Silent Hill 2 is not on the top 10.
Really?
Nope.
What?
So number 2 is a game that neither one of you guys have played, but it is a big one.
I'm confused now because are we talking about, when you say franchise, are you talking about Resident Evil as a whole?
Yes.
Or are you talking about Resident Evil number 1 as being the game?
Yes, because you keep saying Resident Evil 1.
Evil as a franchise. Sorry, I'm just saying, when I say Resident Evil, I just mean Resident Evil franchise. Sorry.
As in all of them. So Resident Evil 5 is not number 2. Yep, gotcha.
Right.
No,
okay.
yeah.
Yep, right. So,
so you say we've never played this?
Yes, neither one of you have played it. It just got a standalone game in September.
Oh, is it Dead by Daylight?
Nailed it. Dead by Daylight has sold 50 million. Can you,
interesting,
mind-blowing that it's number 2. Number 3 is one of Russell's favorites. I believe I've heard him mention it before as one of his favorites. But it's an older one. It has gotten multiple things.
So it's obviously not Silent Hill.
Right.
Yeah. I'm surprised that that's not in the top 10. That's wild.
I am, but I'm not. Again, I know enough to know that Silent Hill's name is really big, but it's not the juggernaut that people think it is. Something I don't think I've talked about. I know a lot of horror games, but I've never talked about Siren hardly at all, so I don't think that would be it.
Is it like The Binding of Isaac? Or one of those. What was that other one? Super Meat? No.
Super Meat Boy is not a horror game.
So this game came out in the Xbox 360 era, and has continued into the Xbox One era. It is technically an indie game.
Is it third person or first person? Or third person?
It's based off of a big IP.
Like Gears of War?
That's not horror.
Too big. And it's not an indie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, indie. Third person.
Hold on, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna bring up Steam and go to their horror section.
Everybody froze on me, so I'm just gonna okay.
It can't be Little Nightmares.
No, it is not Little Nightmares. This
360.
This game was, I'm pretty sure, one game of the year. Could be wrong, but it blew everybody away, and it was very redefined decision making.
Dead Space.
Dead Space is not an indie.
Yeah.
And also you can't make
See,
decisions in Dead
before
Space,
before
you
you
silly
before
head.
you said before you said indie, I actually wanted to say BioShock, but I'm looking at my
Indie.
I'm looking at my
BioShock
Steam.
and what was the other? BioShock
Dead
and
Space.
Dead Space are not on the list.
Oh, you got to give it to us, mate. We're not going to get this.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead. The
Oh,
Walking Dead
okay.
Telltale series.
Wow, really?
Yep, that is number 3.
Wow.
At
I suppose you're right. Those were pretty big.
50 million copies sold throughout the whole series.
I mean, you're
Wow.
right. I am a big fan of those, but that's not. My mind would never have gone there.
Really?
No.
Okay. I thought it was up there for you, so I apologize. Now,
No. I love the games, and they are up there. But as far as sales, I never would have got that in a million years.
No.
now number 4 is a really easy one. Really easy one. I talk about it quite often, and it's a PlayStation exclusive.
Well, Last of Us.
Yes. Yep. 37 million
Yep.
throughout the whole franchise.
Yep.
Number 5.
Okay.
This blows me away.
Okay.
I don't know how to give you a hint on this one. I would say
First person, third person,
first person
first person.
parkour.
Parkour. A parkour
Mirror's
horror
Edge?
game? That's not a horror game.
No,
That's
I
where my
know.
mind went too,
That's-
but that's not a horror.
Yeah.
It's a horror game. It's a horror game.
First person park. Oh, Dying Light.
Yep. I
I've never-
cannot believe Dying Light over some of the games you guys have listed, like Dead Space. 30 million copies throughout the series.
So I am into horror games, but like I'm into a lot of indie horror games, and I'm into a
Yeah.
lot of like PS2 era
Mhm.
horror games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like your Resident Evils, your Silent Hill, your Sirens,
Your Dino Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Dino Crisis,
Yeah.
the what the there's one in my Steam library. What the hell's the name of it? Fatal Frame, that kind of stuff. So
Mhm. This is really interesting, though. Okay, so we've just what did we have? We just had.
Now, I was going to go ahead and so what we have is number 1 is Resident Evil franchise at 142 million copies. 2 is Dead by Daylight at 50 million copies. 3 is Walking Dead at 50 million.
internet is dog shit.
The Last of Us is 37 million at number 4, and Dying Light is 30 million at number 5. Do you guys want me to just give you the last 5 and then we move on to Russell's team?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm never gonna. We're gonna. Yeah.
So number 6 is Castlevania at 20 million. Which I would not categorize as horror in my opinion.
I don't know that I'd. I don't know that I'd categorize that as horror.
It's got vampires. That's
Uh,
pretty
And
scary.
That's
and
true.
I'm saying that as a die-hard Castlevania fan. Fucking Konami, give us another fucking Castlevania game.
And then number 7 we got Dead Island at 16 million.
Okay.
8 is 7 Days to Die at 16 million. Number
I would never
9
guess that.
Number 9 is Outlast. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. At 6.
Okay.
And then number 10, again, mind blown that Silent Hill didn't make the list, Dead Space didn't make the list, but at number 10, Dead Rising came in.
No,
at
no, that makes
15
sense.
million.
Dead Rising came out at the height of like zombies in pop culture.
Yeah.
So that actually makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
to be honest.
So there is a disclaimer on here on their website. It says video game developers and publishers often keep their exact sales numbers close to their chest. This means that some of the numbers are estimates and others might be outdated. Since this is just a list for fun, just keep that in mind. So, yeah.
Alright.
That was awesome. That was a lot of
That was
fun.
good.
And
That was good.
we're going to close out this awesome show with Russell's Steam Reviews. You're fine.
Okay. Hold on. I just got somehow or another I got a fuck ton of messages while we were doing this.
The age-old
what
problem.
order? Yeah. What order do I want to do these in?
Whatever order you like, honey.
No
Sweetie
shit.
bear. Honey bunches.
One of these I may have read earlier, because like now it's just gotten to the point where I might go back on odd Steam reviews, but I haven't. The last couple weeks I've just been picking random ones. So the original Dead Space, the 2008 release, I believe it is.
Yep.
10 out of 10. This game cured my constipation.
Scared the shit out of me, literally.
So a couple of these are becoming staples, and I've brought both of them back. Grand Theft Auto 5. Drove over a hooker, and she got stuck on my windshield, and we went on an adventure. 10 out of 10.
Oh, God.
What a great Pixar story.
Right?
Oh, actually, you know what? I brought back 3. Okay. Left 4 Dead, the original. I joined a match. I got pounced by a hunter. My team ran away. Never has a game been more appropriately named. 10 out of 10. Would die alone again.
Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So everything up until now has been a thumbs up. This is Sims 4. Got a thumbs down after playing for 12 hours. Congratulations, EA. You have unlocked a review. To upgrade this review to positive, you can purchase our DLC positive review package to enjoy the complete review, now only $40.
That's good.
That's so good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, Slay the Spire. Decent game, but not much replayability. Player has over 5,000 hours on record.
Wow.
And I know enough to know about, like, Slay the
gosh.
Spire is in, like, the rogue category. Like, it's not the same, but it's a rogue deck builder. So that's probably not botted.
Yeah.
Another staple brought back, Fallout 4. I like the part where my wife dies.
Goodness.
Fuck.
So we're gonna save that one for last. Okay, so damn it, I didn't screenshot this guy's name properly. I pulled up his review for Dead Cells, but he's got a review for Dead Cells, he's got a review for Elden Ring, and he's got a review for 2 or 3 other things. It literally just says add sex. I wish I had the guy's name, but I didn't.
Oh, fuck.
Sorry, dude. Those were all thumbs up, by the way, too. The casting of Frank Stone, thumbs up. I have quite bad insomnia. Thankfully, 30 minutes of the snoozing of Frank Stone, and I'm out like a light. Far healthier than any sleep tablet. Would highly recommend.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Was it that bad? Did you played it right, Nathan?
No,
Oh, you never
I
did.
really wanted to
Yeah.
review it, but didn't end up having the money for it.
Yeah.
So, Red Dead Redemption, the recent PC port. I think that came out yesterday or the day before. Anyway, got the thumbs up. So excited for Red Dead Revolver port in 2035 for $70.
Yeah.
Goat Simulator 3. Man, I wish goats were real.
Okay.
Um,
So it needs to go outside a bit more, I think.
yeah.
Touch
So
some grass.
there's a little bit of context that needs here. Vampire Survivors. So this is clearly labeled as an early access review. $3 cocaine. And then there's an edit, which I assume is after it came out of early access. $5 cocaine. So the one I skipped over that I said I was going to read last is something called Supermarket Together. I've never heard of it, but thumbs up.
I'm intrigued.
This game is definitive proof that we are regressing as a species. I recommend beating friends with brooms.
Oh my goodness.
Goodness. Now
love
I've
it.
got to check out this game. That was a fantastic review. I got to check it
Yeah.
out now.
That was supermarket together. I have no idea
That's
what
great.
maybe it's like a grocery store simulator. I don't.
Maybe that should be the Gamer Social Club Game of the Month.
Right? Yeah.
Shopping together.
Well, hey, if you guys join the Discord, you guys can toss in your vote on what you want to play next month. So maybe we could actually play that. The thing I want to comment on one of those reviews is the whole entire, like, I've got 2,000 hours. Man, so many people are guilty of that, of like putting thousands and hundreds of hours into a game and being like, it doesn't have enough content. Even my favorite Diablo streamer, he's like, I'm leaving the Diablo 4 game. There's just no content here. He's got like 14 characters maxed out to level 100. Literally did 100% of the game. Like, spent so much time in the game.
There's
It's
no
like,
content there. That's for sure.
what?
Yeah.
What? Okay. Hey,
Brilliant.
thank you all so much for sticking around with us. I have loved this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Fraser and Russell, it's been great catching up with you guys.
Same here, man. Always love it. Always love it. And don't forget, gamersocialclub.ca.
.ca. And don't forget to follow my dudes and their YouTube platforms. Their links to their YouTubes are...
My side streaming career seems to be taking off a little bit.
Yes,
so.
it's popping off, dude.
Exciting,
I
dude.
love it for you. You got some really cool content that I don't really see much other places. Like, I really want to watch your stream whenever you do the Halo emulation thing there. But, all right, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
All right, catch you next time.